So I'm gonna do it again, a little bit faster this time, just to get it. Yeah, that needs to be fixed. Okay. Hey, what's going on, guys? Jimmy here, and today is gonna be a little bit different of a video. This is gonna be more of a normal vlog style video, albeit still about my 1995 GMC Suburban. You can see it is raining today, but I wanted to check my brakes because they are squealing really bad, so I thought I'd bring you guys along and see what you think. All right, so basically I'm here in my shop. Or I guess you can call it my garage, because that's really what it is, but I like to call it my shop. I do have it set up somewhat like a shop. As you can see, my wall of goodies there, my workbench, and of course my toy box. So I'm having a slight problem with this 95. If any of you guys have been following my channel for a while, you'll know that I recently, within the last I don't know, year, redid all the brakes on this 95. I went to Napa, I picked up everything I needed. I did the fronts and the rear drums, everything brand new. Brand new drums, springs, everything in the back, and everything brand new, rotors and pads and rotors and pads in the front. The thing is, I started to notice a really loud kind of whistling, kind of, you know, that loud brake screeching sound. It only really happens when the brakes are really warmed up, but they are getting worse. And it seems like, from what I'm looking at here, that there's a lot of dust being accumulated on these front rims. I'm not exactly sure why. I thought I bought pretty good stuff. I thought it was ceramic when I bought it, but I could be wrong on that. I just washed these rims not too long ago. So, I mean, literally I'll wash my truck and within 2 weeks, the rims are already really, really bad with brake dust all over them. And just for a little comparison here, you can see the rear passenger side. It's very clean. I'm getting that loud, screeching, whistling sound. I don't know what you want to call it, but it basically, to me, sounds like the brake pads are bad or going bad or something like that. So I think what I'm gonna have to do is take the wheel off of both sides and look at the pads and see how much meat is left on there. And also take a look at the rotors and see if there's something maybe wrong with that. The other problem I'm having is when I do come to a stop, the truck is pulsing pretty bad. So that to me tells me there's a warped rotor in there somewhere. I'm hoping it's only the fronts and not the rears. My video that I had before on the rear drum brakes, oh my gosh, that was terrible to do. Absolutely terrible, and I really hope that I don't have to get in there and even touch those things. All right, first thing I'm gonna do here is grab some gloves. I buy these rubber gloves from Harbor Freight. I usually get them when they're on sale, so it's like $5 for a box of 100 gloves. And these are actually really good gloves. I really, really like them, and the blue color looks good on camera. Okay, I might not actually be doing this because my jack, I thought I had just fixed it last night. There's an O-ring inside here that was completely leaking, and I had to go to the hardware store and get a couple O-rings to see which one would fit right. I put the best one in there. It wasn't perfect, but it looks like now it's leaking again. I can hear it. Look at all that fluid down there. So that O-ring is not working out at all. Do any of you guys own this Craftsman 3-ton capacity floor jack? I bought this at Sears a while back on a Black Friday thing with 2 jack stands, but man, I've been having a leak here for a long time, and it's just an O-ring, but you can't find the size O-ring that it is. You just can't find them. Of course, we'll put some jack stands under there. It's not good. It's not safe either. All right, well, I got a jack stand. I got a 6-ton jack stand. It is a Harbor Freight jack stand, but it is 6 tons, so we should have plenty of protection there. Actually, this would be a good test to see if this jack is leaking down, so I'll leave it like this. And I do have a little bit of space there, a gap between the jack stand and the frame. And if the truck comes into contact with that jack stand, then I'll know that this jack is no longer safe as it sits. Well, I got my screwdriver here and we're gonna take off this cover plate. Well, that worked. You're never supposed to put these things face down on the floor because that ends up happening. This was all done before I got this vehicle, but I always put mine like that so that, you know, this nice part doesn't scratch up on the floor. Here you can see my lug nuts, and those suckers need to come off. For that, I'm gonna be using my Harbor Freight Earthquake XT Stubby. This thing is pretty rad. It did cost me a pretty penny though, $115, and I don't necessarily have a compressor that will really run this thing good. My compressor, I think, is 2.3 gallons or 3 gallons or something like that. There you can see my compressor is a Makita, and I'll put a link down in the description below. It is the MAC 700. It is a 2 horsepower, 2.6 gallon, 3.3 CFM at 90 PSI. I threw a light here on my daughter's Power Wheel Jeep, and I also changed my white balance, so hopefully we can see a little bit better. I noticed it was looking a little yellow because it was set for the outside cloudiness. Man. This thing could not do it. Not gonna lie, this thing has never seemed really incredibly strong. I don't know though, it might just be my air compressor not able to provide the amount of air it needs, because I did see this, a couple reviews on YouTube, and people seem to really like this thing. I think it is made well and it seems like a nice product, but in my experience, it seems kind of weak. Again, it might be my compressor, not sure. Now that the tire's off the ground, I'm going to have to use my breaker bar to get these suckers off there. And they're not even that tight, to be honest, which is what's so weird. Yeah, let me get these off. Okay, got her off. What do we got going on here? Why are you making so much noise? All right, well, looking down in there, it looks like there's plenty of meat on that pad. The rotors seem fine, nothing too crazy. Everything seems absolutely normal. They're just squealing like crazy. Man, I can't seem to find anything wrong with this. The pads on both sides look like there's plenty of meat in there. You can see the inner pad and the outer pad. I'm spinning this rotor around with my hand and it doesn't seem to be warped or anything like that. So there's no ridges or anything on the surface. Everything seems to be nice. Well, overall, I don't see a reason to really mess with these. The rotors seem good and thick. There's no ridges on the inside or outside. Actually, I didn't check the inside. Yeah, the inside is perfectly smooth. I guess I'm just gonna leave them just like this and button this side up, and then we'll check the passenger side. Where is it? Right there. I just looked up the lug nut torque specs. I always forget. Had to bust out the 1/2-inch torque wrench, and the lug nut torque specs for this truck is 120 foot-pounds, so that's what I'll be tightening them to. Aha! I think I figured it out. At least I know where the pulsing is coming from. So take a load of this. I'm gonna spin this rotor. Okay, hang on. Okay, did you hear that? Let's back it up. Listen. The pulsing is coming from this rotor. For some reason, this rotor must be warped. Now, what caused that warpage is beyond me. However, I'm curious if Napa has a warranty on these rotors. I've isolated where the sound is coming from, and if you look on this rotor, hopefully you can make it out. There's these weird, yeah, you can see them there. There's some weird spots kind of in the grain of the stopping surface. So I don't know what that is. Maybe you guys can comment below. I'm sure somebody knows. How do I fix this? Do I just simply get a new rotor and slap it in there? But then is it gonna be uneven with the other side? Does that matter? I don't know. Well, I just got off the phone with Napa Auto Parts here in Burbank, actually. But I was able to find the receipt, thankfully, and It looks like this rotor's under warranty, so I'm just gonna take it off and take it back in and have them swap it out for a brand new one. And I'm guessing, I was talking to the guy on the phone, I don't, I mean, they just work there. It's not like they know everything in the world about cars, but he seemed to think that just swapping the rotor out would be good enough. See, I was thinking like, is it gonna be different now that one side's gonna be new and one side's gonna be, 10 months old? Are the pads affected that were on this thing? Like, I mean, with the defective rotor, I mean, are those pads defective? I don't know. I think I have a ratchet for this, but oh well. All right, guys, rotor's gone. Just wanted to kind of look at these pads. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to tell anything just by looking at these things, but I don't know. There's definitely plenty of meat on these guys. Here's the rotor in the daylight. And you can see there's definitely these spots that are like pits or something. If I look real close, it definitely looks like it's pitting or something like that. I don't know why that would happen. All right, guys, well, I'm back. I just went to Napa and did a warranty replacement on this thing, and look what we got here. A brand new rotor. Now, these are 12-month, 12,000 mile warranties on these things. Not the greatest, but I mean, it shouldn't have failed after just 10 months. So hopefully I'll put this thing on and everything will go back to normal. I'm hoping anyway. Also, I wanted to spin this thing around with no rotor or caliper on there, just so you can hear that it's not the bearing, just in case some of you might think that. Sounds completely normal. So the next step is going to be to wash all the oil coating off of this thing and then throw it on. A lot of people use brake clean, but I'd rather not use chemicals if I can. Look at that. That's a big old divot out of this rotor. That does not look good. I mean, if that's there, how do I know the face of this rotor doesn't have pits in it also? That's not good. Call me crazy, but I don't think that rotors are supposed to have things like this. Is that going to affect the performance of this thing? Probably not, but then my question becomes, if this is here, what's going on along the surface just beneath what I can see with my eye? Now this is machined down, so hopefully nothing. Hopefully that's just, some sort of manufacturing anomaly. I don't know. You just push her on. She's installed. Okay, so I got everything back together and it's all looking good. I was able to get that caliper back on without compressing the piston. Everything just slid right back in. So that's all good. And yeah, I guess the next step is to put the wheel on and then go for a drive. All right, guys, we do have everything back together. So both wheels have been torqued down. Everything is back together and good to go. And we are gonna go out and try to seat in these this rotor, I guess, the brake pads with the rotor. I don't know how that's gonna feel, how it's gonna go, because I've never done anything like this before. Anytime I've ever replaced a rotor, it was also with brand new pads. So we'll see. All right, guys, well, I just did what I think is just the first pass of the break-in process. Just did the standard, 45 miles an hour down to about 5 a few times, and then some hard braking from about 50 or 60 down to about what was it, maybe 10 or 15 miles an hour. This has revealed an issue. Okay, so the issue now is that I can still hear the brake whining, and that is, as I suspected, coming from the front driver's side. However, the good thing is that the terrible braking and the extreme pulsing that I was getting before is no longer there. Maybe slightly there on the driver's side, but I can tell the passenger side just feels really good now. Let me see if I can come to a stop a little bit faster and you can hear the whining that I'm talking about. That. So annoying. A little bit faster this time just to get it. Yeah. That needs to be fixed. Okay, I'm gonna have to take the other rotor in for a warranty replacement. 354 degrees. You can see where it's at. There's what the surface of the rotor looks like now. I did read that in the case where you're using old pads and new rotors, you may have to do this process twice. I did pretty good just now when I did it. It is what it is. We'll see how she works out. And if these things just end up being no good, I may have to just go ahead and bite the bullet and redo them all with AC Delco. Well, hey guys, thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Half of it is done. I'm still having that issue with the driver's side over there, so I'll have to take care of that probably tomorrow. But luckily, my brake components were all under warranty. I think they're about 10 months old, and the warranty goes out 12 months. So I got about 2 months to figure it all out. So if you would, hit that thumbs up for me and subscribe if you're not already, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks, guys. Peace.